MGM has no liability, but lawyers for the victims say the FBI never classified the Vegas shooting as a terrorist act because the gunman had no clear motive or extremist ideology, that MGM is unethical and simply judge shopping.
It wasn't meant to provide immunity for a hotel casino who's had woefully inefficient security process that didn't, all the bells and whistles that were going off that they didn't catch.
So far, 250 victims have filed against MGM, claiming that the hotel, not the concert, failed to provide adequate security, was negligent in stopping the attack. MGM, of course, Bill, faces hundreds of millions in losses should it lose.
Wow, interesting twist. Thank you, William Lajeunesse in Los Angeles on that today. Sandra.
Meanwhile, there are new developments on the case of an American pastor fighting for his freedom after being detained in Turkey on terrorism charges. The latest on his case after a hearing today.
And reporters, columnists, they are hammering the president after Helsinki. But is the media taking this too far? Howard Kurtz has looked at it. He'll analyze it. Coming up next.
The attacks on Trump, this overwrought, hysterical, insane attack by the media, the Democrats, some in the Republican Party, and some phony conservatives. It's okay.
Let me ask you this.
You're allowed to question a president. Just don't go nuts.
If you're like thousands of veterans who own a home, you may be thinking about refinancing to get money for your family. As a veteran, you're eligible to apply for a refinance loan for up to 100% of your home's value. The New Day 100 VA loan lets you refinance your mortgages, consolidate your credit card debt, get cash, and lower your payments an average of $600 a month. Call New Day USA right now.
Call 1-844-383-1591.
A hotel can make or break a trip. And at Expedia, we don't think you should be rushed into booking one. That's why we created Expedia's Add-on Advantage. Now after booking your flight, you unlock discounts on select hotels, right until the day you leave. Add-on Advantage. Discounted hotel rates when you add on to your trip. Only when you book with Expedia.
Psoriatic arthritis tries to get in my way. Watch me.
I've tried lots of things for my joint pain. Now, watch me.
Think I'd give up showing these guys how it's done? Please.
Real people with active psoriatic arthritis are changing the way they fight it.
There's all, but good for them. They look great, and a lot of happiness in Thailand again today. All right, cool. 15 minutes before the hour. Check it out.
Comparing the president's conference with Putin to Pearl Harbor, 9/11, Kristallnacht, the beginning of the Holocaust, calling him a traitor and treasonous. 2 weeks ago, they said he was running Japanese internment camps and Nazi concentration camps. This is the pseudo-media. All this hysteria. The fact of the matter is Trump hasn't done a thing to harm America.
So there's Mark Levin with Sean Hannity teeing off on the media's criticism of President Trump's Helsinki summit. Howard Kurtz is the Fox News media analyst, host of Media Buzz on Sundays. How you doing, Howie? Good morning to you. You've been watching and listening and reading the incoming back and forth. What do you think right now about the do-over from yesterday afternoon?
Well, first of all, Bill, the media are largely rejecting and even mocking the president's attempts at a clarification, likening it to a hostage video, saying it's not about one misspoken word. And the whole furor is being fed by leaks from insiders. We have seen this before, undercutting the president. Washington Post reporting that he essentially ignored most of 100 pages of briefing material, saying to be tough on Vladimir Putin. Axios quoting former officials on Helsinki, need a shower. Another one said, dude, this is a blanking disgrace. Now, obviously, they're being disloyal, but they're also frustrated that the president, in what some of them call defiance disorder, blew right past their advice about how to deal with Putin.
What's defiance disorder? Rather.
Defiance disorder is when everybody on the president's staff says, don't do this, you got to be tough with Putin, don't stand up there. We saw this also after Charlottesville. And the president says, hey, I'm president, I'm going to say what I want. And he, of course, often excels at saying what he wants, but sometimes when he says what he wants, it can be somewhat inflammatory.
Howard, how much do you think the reaction was based on the reporters not getting the answers they were expecting? How much of a, Rod Rosenstein not getting the answer publicly that he was expecting based on the indictments last Friday? Maybe some Republicans on the Hill not getting the answer they were expecting?
Certainly, there was a great expectation in the media and political worlds that in the light of those indictments of the 12 Russian military officers, the president was going to strike a more aggressive tone instead of sort of equating U.S. intelligence agencies with the strong denial, the powerful denial, he said, from Vladimir Putin. But on this point about going too far, there has been some of that. A lot of talk in the press about traitor and treasonous, he should be taken out and shot, the analogies to Pearl Harbor and so forth. And this also is a pattern I've observed, which is when the president makes a mistake or says something incendiary, he'll go to a 10. The press goes to 11 or 13, and it convinces many Trump supporters that they've got it in for the guy, that he never gets the benefit of the doubt. In other words, it can be an overreaction, which is not to say that he doesn't deserve criticism for what happened in Helsinki.
Okay, so you would agree that sometimes the first reaction, as I stated earlier, can be an overreaction. Do you think this was an overreaction, or do you think the reaction was appropriate in real time?
On the substance of it, I think the reaction was perfectly appropriate and understandable. And here's the difference in this case. When the president says fake news, in this particular instance, you have a number of conservative outlets and commentators being highly critical of how he handled Vladimir Putin. You have the Wall Street Journal editorial page saying a personal and national embarrassment. You have many worst mistake of his presidency. So what Trump did, this cuts across the usual left, right, or pro-Trump, anti-Trump lines. That's why there has been such intensity to this media reaction.
I'll just make one more point. We still don't know what happened in these private meetings. I think the White House would do well to tell us. If there was news or movement on things like North Korea, we want to know.
Sure. The session with Putin was more than just the press conference, but the press conference is the public stage, the white-hot glare of the spotlight. So that's all we have to go on. It may turn out that the summit, in retrospect, will indicate more progress than we might have expected. But now you even have the New York Times, Bill, just briefly, saying, well, this raises the question, what does Putin have on Trump? There's no evidence of that, but it's made it into the mainstream conversation.
Yeah, I saw a report on NBC this morning, Today's Show. They were in southeastern Wisconsin. Trump supporters, a region that flipped from blue to red in 2016. They were 100% behind him. So they hear it in ways that the media do not hear.
Exactly.
And I think that's something we really have to keep in mind. Howard Kurtz, thank you so much. Live in D.C. Sandra.
Good to see you.
New York's self-proclaimed socialist Democratic candidate stirring up more controversy with her interviews.
We're not going to win if we don't stand for anything. We need to occupy every airport. We need to occupy every border. We need to occupy every ICE office until those kids are back with their parents.
Now, why top members of her own party are starting to come out against Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. We'll bring in our Newsroom A-team to discuss.
Also today, a Turkish court ruling an American pastor on trial for terrorism will not be released. More on this breaking development from overseas coming up next.
We have Pastor Brunson, a wonderful Christian pastor, and he's right now in Turkey. He's been there a long time. Pastor Brunson, I hope you can hear us. We'll be helping you at some point.
When did you see the sign?
When I needed to jumpstart sales.
Build attendance for an event.